Everyone is here. Yep, okay. Let us begin the regular meeting for the Cumberland Fire Committee. By the way, our mission statement is to provide exceptional public safety service in a safe, compassionate, cost-effective, and professional manner. This is a regular meeting of the Cumberland Fire Department, Cumberland Fire Committee. Today's date is Tuesday, March 23rd, 2021. Let's begin with a call to order and roll call. Begin with the roll call. Commissioner Ashenbo?
Yeah.
Commissioner Hogan? I can see you. Commissioner Hogan is here. Commissioner Kutsiani?
Present.
Commissioner Pacone?
Here.
Commissioner Jones?
Yeah.
And Commissioner Santoro.
Present.
All right. Next, if we could have a moment of silence and a pledge of allegiance. If we could all stand. And Phil has the flag still there. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We could maybe make our moment of silence, thinking about those people in Colorado who lost their lives in a yet another senseless shooting. Thank you. Moving on, general announcements. Does anyone have any general announcements? Moving forward, let's go to approval of the minutes from 2/23/21. Is there a motion on the table?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Jones. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Santoro. Any discussion regarding the minutes? Hearing none, let's go to a vote. All those who approve the minutes from 2/23/2021, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Opposed? This passes 7-0. Thank you. Moving on to new business. Or any communications? Okay. New business, discussion, consideration, and possible vote to approve the chief's report for February 2021. Chief, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Good evening. In the attached document, you'll find Cumberland Fire District responded to 349 calls for service for the month of February. On March 1st, I'd like to mention firefighter Jason LaValle took the position of acting fire inspector. That was due to my vacancy from that position. It was a position that was bid by seniority, and Fire Inspector LaValle met all the qualifications per the department requirements. Inspector LaValle is proved to be extremely motivated and dedicated. The buildings are already safer, and we have a lot of work ahead. So I'd like to thank Firefighter LaValle for his efforts. On March 9th, as you're aware, our engine 2 was returning back from a call for service when it was struck on its side, driver's side. The engine was going with the flow of traffic. It was not in any intersections. It had the right of way, and it was struck by another vehicle. It is at the Greenwood Fire Apparatus in North Attleboro apparatus company, awaiting appraisal for the VFIS Initial damages from Greenwood are upwards of $30,000. As of this date, our engine 3, which is another reserve, is out of service from pump damage it sustained while being serviced during cold weather. And that repair facility is correcting all the damages associated with that. The Rhode Island Fire Academy is offering a new recruit program. I had the vacancy created by firefighter Grenier. This was the first opportunity we had to send a replacement. Andrew Walmsley of Warren, Rhode Island was on our list that we had previously established last year. He met all the requirements of the job, and he's held employment as a crash fire rescue firefighter and also a volunteer firefighter. I believe he will make an excellent addition to our department. Any questions?
Anyone?
Comment, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Jones?
I'd like to congratulate Jay LaValle. Sure he'll do fine work as a fire inspector, fire marshal.
Thank you, Commissioner Jones. I concur. Jason, I look forward to your career here as an inspector.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the chief? Chief, I'm wondering how the person is who hit the truck. Is there any medical update or any,
I have not received any follow-up information. I've spoke with the VFIS and the Cumberland Police Department. The damage was significant enough where the person was transported to Rhode Island Hospital, the appropriate hospital, but I have not received any word of a significant injury.
Okay. Well, I hope that person is doing well.
Madam Chair, a question in regards to the accident. I know it was indicated we're going through our own insurance company at this point in time. Does the other driver have adequate insurance coverage, if you know?
Commissioner, the other driver did have insurance. And as you stated, we have an investigator with the VFIS who's pursuing all damages.
Do you have an estimate of how long that particular vehicle might be out of service?
I do not have that. The VFIS agent will be out on Monday, and I'll be able to meet with Greenwood and that agent and get a better estimate. I can email the board at that time.
That would be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Chief Anderson? Hearing none, let's go to a vote. All those in favor of approving Chief's report of February 2021?
Need a motion? Need a
Oh,
motion?
that's right. Sorry. God, I get ahead of myself all the time with that thing. Is there a motion on the table to accept the chief's report? Motion by Commissioner Santoro. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Archambeau. Any further discussion? Hearing none, let's go to a vote. All in favor of accepting the chief's report from February 2021, say aye. Or
Aye.
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 Oppose? Passes 7-0. Item
Cindy,
2
if I
on
could
the,
interrupt. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
yes.
All right, thank you.
How you doing, Tim?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, you're
I'm
waving your hand.
waving.
Right, exactly. We can see that. Second, item number 2 on the agenda under new business, discussion, consideration, and possible vote to approve the finance director's report from February 2021. Steve?
Good evening, everyone. I did email out as I usually do the report. So as of February, we are at 87% collected. I did speak with Patrick, and we obviously have our next quarterly payment due next month in April. and some of the collections have started. So we're hopeful that we're going to meet our mark like we did last year with collections. If anybody had a chance to review the report, if they have any questions on the backup documentation, I'll be happy to answer them.
Does anyone have any questions for Steve regarding the finance report?
Steve, quick question on the tax sales. Are we going to be able to proceed with those as normal, or what's the status on those? I don't know if there's any changes.
We have been proceeding as normal. Other towns have done that as well. I have not discussed that much further, but if I do have a discussion about possibly postponing it, I will certainly bring it to your attention and to Cindy's attention like I did last year. But at this time, I don't foresee that because other towns are having their tax sales on a normal schedule as well. But if I do hear something different, I will certainly bring that to your attention.
Madam
thanks.
Chair, as part of the finance, I'm just curious as to the state of the preparation for the new fiscal year budget.
I have been in conversations with Nick. We have been going over some things. So the conversations have already been taking place. So we will be proceeding as we did last year.
Are we on
Thank you.
target for where we were last year in terms of meeting regarding the budget? And
Right now, can I call you back?
With the budget, we are on target. As I explained at the last meeting, there's a couple of items that we do foresee going over on budget, which one we already have to date, and that's to the vehicle. We're pretty much on target, so we should be okay. We might go over a little bit because don't forget within the budget that we created last year, we did not budget for the grant that we received after the budget was done. So there were some additional expenses with that. So, but I think we're going to be in pretty good shape at this point right now.
what about setting up subcommittee meetings? Are we on target for that?
I have not discussed that yet with Vinny, but like I said, the chief and I have already started some discussions, but as soon as we get to that point, I will discuss it with Vinny.
Okay. Coming up on the end of
April, March, going into April, yes.
going into April, and we had to wait until we had to have didn't we have to have a specific request because our budget was late getting in?
I don't think it was late going. We were, the reason why we were rushing last year was because of the TAN. We needed the budget part in.
Mhm.
We were a little later than normal last year because of the delay in getting Zoom and getting the meeting set up.
Okay.
So now we're more acclimated to that, so it should be pretty smooth this year.
Okay, good. Very good. Thank you. Does anyone have any other
Does
questions?
it look like we're going to need the TAN this year, or can we do without?
Right now, I'm going to say we don't need to do it. I know I said that in January as well. We seem to be pretty on target that we won't have to do that. But I reserve judgment to wait to see how the collections go with the next quarter. I hope you understand that.
All right.
Yeah, I'll cross my fingers.
Yeah, me too.
Yes.
We should all cross our fingers.
Yes.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Nice job as always, Steve.
Thank you, Paul.
Good point, Paul. Thank you. Is there a motion on the table to accept the Finance Director's report for February 2021?
Madam Chair, I will make a motion to accept that report for February 2021.
Commissioner Cucciano makes a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Ashenbo. Any further discussion? Hearing none, let's go to a vote. All in favor of accepting the Finance Director's report for February 2021, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Passes 7-0. Item number 3, under new business, is an error on my part. I gave the wrong language to Kerry. And this was something that was done on Friday before she was leaving. So we will not be having this discussion since we have already voted to have Chief Anderson as our chief. So it was supposed to read discussing his contract. So we will have that discussion either in a emergency meeting or next month. And I apologize for that. All right,
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Santoro.
I have an item I'd like to add to the agenda, which I spoke to the solicitor about, and I sent the Open Meetings Act, which I hope Attorney Snapper, you've reviewed. It's just for discussion. We cannot vote on this. And it's in accordance with Robert's Rules of Order. If we have a majority to discuss this issue, and I think a few people would like to discuss this issue, we can talk about this. It's just for discussion. If I could bring it up now.
Solicitor?
Paul, did you send me anything on that?
I did. I can read it for you right now if you'd like. 4246 Section B says, nothing contained herein shall prevent a public body other than a school committee from adding additional items to the agenda by a majority vote of the members. This is just for discussion and cannot be voted on or changed. I emailed this to you at after we had spoke today.
Yeah. 42, 46, 6.
42, 46, 6.
What subpart?
Subsection B. And I boldfaced it for you, sir.
Paul, without going into detailed discussion, what is the subject matter of this?
I just want to discuss when the chair feels necessary to turn powers over to the vice chair when she's out of state for more than 24 hours. That's all. And I think that more than one of us would like to hear about this. And the law allows it, according to what I've read. We've done this before. And it's done the Open Meetings Act as I read it, and I forwarded to the solicitor, and he can read it himself. It says it right there. I'm looking at it on my second computer. Nothing shall prevent us from discussing adding items to the agenda by majority vote of the members. So if you want to ask us all if we want to discuss this, and if 4 of us say yes, then we can discuss it. Just asking and discussing. If it's just having a congenial discussion about when we feel the chair should turn the powers over to the vice chair if she's out of town for when she feels appropriate to turn the powers over to the vice chair. That's all. I just want to have a calm, relaxed discussion about this. That's all. And the law allows for this. Not to vote. We can't do any voting on it. It's not adding a new agenda item. It's adding a new agenda item, but we cannot take any kind of vote. We cannot take any kind of action on it. We cannot change any kind of, we cannot make a resolution. We cannot spend any money or change the bylaws or change any of our anything.
So what's the sense of doing it?
the sense of doing it, Bob, is that finding out about a vehicle accident involving one of our trucks after the fact that could have been something more serious is concerning. And I think a few of us that I talked to were taken by surprise. And it's happened more than once to find out that our chairperson is in Arizona, other side of the country. And when we have a very capable vice chairperson, and why we're not using our vice chairperson, to me, is concerning. And it's happened more than once. And I just like to know, at what point does our chairperson decide she's going to say, Phil, here's the key. You're the one in charge. That's the point. Because God forbid, Bob, if that car had been a semi, the driver was killed, and Nick had to go to that door with somebody else, who would have gone to that door? Would it have been you, or Phil, or me, or Tim? Who's going to go? The chairperson has to go, right? God forbid.
Paul, I don't think the chairperson has
I
to.
don't
go.
think the
I
chairperson has to go. That's department stuff. That's something that the chief and his officers would handle. That's got nothing to do with us.
I don't know about that. I mean,
We're just a board. We're just a board. They take care of their personal matters.
Hold on, Bob, I'm going to make a suggestion here. First of all, we have to have a vote whether we're going to discuss it. We
Right.
haven't had that vote yet.
Yeah, I want to, Solicitor, what is your ruling on this, first of all? I don't mind having the discussion, but I want this to be legal.
Well, I mean, it's less than, a model of clarity, but it does say nothing contained here is from a public body other than school committee from adding additional items to the agenda by majority vote of the members. And then it appears to say it's got to be for informational purposes only, and there can't be any vote. So it's less than a model of clarity, but that's the best I got out of it. So
So
I
if
suppose if a majority of members agree, you can add it for discussion only.
So if it's for informational only, does that translate to having a discussion about protocol? So for example, if I wanted to tell you because I found out today that X, Y, and Z, that we got a grant and we got $100,000 grant, and everybody needs to be on board by Monday. To me, that would be informational.
No, that isn't the point, Cindy. The point, the simple point is, first, let's just decide if we can talk about it.
Right. That's what I'm trying to get at, Paul. I don't have a problem having this discussion, but I don't want it to be against the rules.
I think he just told you the answer. The answer is yes.
So I asked him a follow-up question.
Madam Chair, may I have 1 second, please?
Yeah, absolutely.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
if I may, I don't have a problem with this discussion, as long as it's on the up and up, and Solicitor Sinapi is checking on that right now. I think, and if I'm not mistaken, do we not have bylaws that would refer to this issue? When and where the vice chairman would take control or take the role over for the chairman or chairperson when that person is not available, and if not, And if it is not in the bylaws, I think it's something that we should probably think about putting into the bylaws in the
Yeah,
future.
absolutely.
And like I said, I don't have a problem. I understand where Paul's coming from. You know, it may be more serious to him than it is to me. But I don't have the bylaws in front of me, but if somebody does, if they could check it, or if the solicitor could check into it, and I mean, we can alleviate this problem very easily. We put it on the agenda to make a change in the bylaws. I believe we can do that. Where if you're going away, you're on vacation, you have to go or wherever it is for a period of time that the vice chairman will take over the acting duties of the chairperson. That's all I have to say. But I agree with you 100%, Madam Chair, that I want to make sure that this is
Right. That's all I want to do.
above water. We're not setting a precedent down the road for future issues that may get us in trouble.
Correct.
Madam
Thank
Chair,
you.
since Commissioner Santoro has brought this issue up at tonight's meeting, I would suggest that we just put it on next month's meeting so we have full advance notice so we can check out in regards to some of these things and have a more detailed discussion if needed. First of all, we have to decide whether we're going to discuss it.
Right.
We've been discussing it and we haven't had a vote yet. We should have a vote. Are we going to discuss it or not? I made a suggestion. We put it on next month's meeting.
I'm just waiting to hear from solicitor to determine whether or not this being a discussion is considered informational or not. That's all. I just want the language clear.
I think it's informational is okay, but you asked him whether you want to have it put into a protocol type thing.
No, I just wanted, no, when I said, it was just, developing a protocol for that, but because that was going to be the discussion about what we should do, protocol kind of thing. So I want to make sure that that's specific information, because establishing a protocol, even though we're not going to vote on it, to me isn't quote information.
Well, that's different. I think we have to, you're the chairperson.
I agree. I agree it is different. So that's
we-
why I want clarification.
Yeah, so we defer to your judgment. You being the chairperson, you're in charge, and we have to just defer to your judgment as being the chairperson, saying, we trust that you as the chair are gonna have the judgment and the common sense to say, I'm the chair and I decide that, as the chair, I'm gonna have the
discussion.
the wisdom, I guess you would use, to say, whatever it be, I'm not going to make suggestions. 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours, a week. I'm going to go 1 state, 2 state, 3 states, 4 states.
Okay, well, you're talking about this. We're not supposed to be talking about it just yet.
But whatever it is, it's just information. So if we can take a vote.
No, I know, but you're talking about it and we haven't voted on it yet. I'm waiting for the response from the solicitor. That's all. We can just be patient.
Sure.
So I double checked here, and you can have an informational item added, I guess, for discussion, but that's it. You can't vote on it. But you
Okay,
first
so-
gotta it's gotta be proposed, seconded, and then you gotta,
Okay, so is this that was my question. Is this informational?
Yes.
I think it's supplemental notice, only if you voted on something you do. But if you vote on something, they're not voting, so. Right. Okay, so we make a motion and do what you gotta do if you wanna.
So I make the motion, we discuss this issue regarding when we would transfer powers from the chair to the vice chairman. If I can get-
Could we instead have a discussion on whether the committee would like to have the chairperson transfer powers at some place.
However you want to word it, Cindy, I'll make that motion.
What if we make the motion a little broader and make it a discussion on the duties of the vice chair? That way we're not, it's more informational. We're not talking specifics at that point.
Okay.
Can-
I'll second Vinnie's motion.
Can you say that again, Vinnie, please?
I'm not going to make the motion, but if we're going to have the discussion, why wouldn't it be on the duties of the vice chair rather than anything procedural?
Madam Chair, maybe I
Commissioner.
can make a suggestion. As I
Yes.
said, I really think this belongs on next month's meeting, but there has to be a motion, it sounds like, to just discuss this matter first. So there has to be a motion made. Are we going to discuss this at tonight's meeting? I think, Paul, you did make that motion?
No, well, I started to, and the chair asked me to change the wording.
Well, why don't you, what motion do you want to make, please? For the, open
Cindy,
up,
how, Cindy, how would you like me to word the motion? It sounds like it's going to fail now.
No, it's not that. I just want to get the motion right. That's all. So to me, it's
You gotta vote to add something to the agenda, first of all. Okay, it's
Okay.
that simple. So move to add whatever just informational discussion you want to add to the agenda.
So,
And then you vote on it. So
so
what is it
motion
that you want
to
to discuss?
add informational item
Specifically what?
to the agenda to discuss transfer of power, transfer of duty,
Transfer duties of the vice chairman in the absence of the chairperson.
to the vice chair. When chair is out of state.
I don't think we should be discussing this till we check and see if the bylaws, it's already in the bylaws.
I don't think it is. I don't think this specifically is in the bylaws.
The bylaws do not state whether what the duties of the vice chairman are.
The bylaws say that the position shall preside at all meetings in place of the chairperson and perform such other of his or her duties that may arise in the chairperson's absence.
There you go.
I think that pretty much covers what we're discussing.
Okay, we still don't have a motion.
Yeah,
so I make that motion that Cindy just wrote.
Motion to add informational item to the agenda to discuss transfer of duties to vice chair when the chair is out of state for more than 24 hours. Is there a motion on the table?
Yes, I make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it for discussion purposes.
All right. Okay. Let's discuss.
Well, you got to vote that you want to add it for discussion. So I mean, so if you want to discuss the motion, I mean, you can't discuss the subject of it until you vote that you want to add it to the agenda.
All right.
You can discuss procedural issue like, I don't think we should add it, but I mean, you can't
Well, I have to
discuss the
take a vote.
substance of it without voting on it.
I have to take a vote on it right now. So that is all in favor of having a motion to add an informational item on the agenda to discuss transfer of duties to the chair when the chair is out of state for more than 24 hours, say aye.
Aye.
Raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
nay,
Nay,
Nay, with explanation, if I may,
I gotta take a, I'm gonna have to take a voice vote, sorry. Dana? Nay?
Hey, with an explanation, if I may, is that okay, Solicitor?
Sure.
I mean, I guess.
That's just briefly, the bylaws subcommittee still in action, and we're 9/10 of the way there. So I just think it should be, I'm reading quickly through the articles, section 4 and section 5.
We can't discuss it, Dana.
No, I'm saying,
You emphatically said no, so just, we can't discuss it, Dana.
Dana, no,
He said no, exclamation point, so we can't.
I think he's right. I don't think you could get into it.
okay,
okay, it's nay, I
nay.
have an explanation, but I'm not allowed. Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Hogan,
Yes,
Commissioner Ashenbo,
No,
Commissioner Pacone,
Yes.
Commissioner Kutsiani,
No,
me, yes. And
Santoro, yes.
Commissioner Santoro would be a yes. Okay,
So it carries 4-3.
thank you.
So we can discuss it. Right? It carries 4-3.
Yes, we can discuss it.
Great.
So it's my understanding, so what I'm hearing from you is that you would prefer to have the chairperson, whoever the chairperson is going to be, have the vice chair transfer the duties to the vice chair while that chairperson is out of town for more than 24, 48, 72 hours. Is that my understanding of what you want to accomplish?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else want to discuss that?
So I mean, I don't know that there's much that we do in person at this point anyway. So I could be in Arizona right now for all you guys know. I mean, I'm in my basement, you can see that. But regardless, I think, you know, now that we're using Zoom for a lot of meetings and subcommittee, I don't know that there's a downside to us being out of town for any length of time. Now, if we're talking something different, as in, you know, the chair was not available electronically either, then that's a discussion to be had.
and if I may, Madam Chair, the only issue I had, and I believe Commissioner Jones kind of answered that if it's not the language in the bylaws isn't sufficient, then if we need to visit that down the road, but there is some language in there that states that, as Mr. Sinapi said, that in the absence of the chair, the vice chair will basically take his or her place for meetings and other such things. So I think if Commissioner Santoro wants to add a little beef to that, maybe I don't know. I don't have an issue with it. But I think we should do this through the bylaws. And if they're actually in effect, then we can always add or subtract to it, whatever the case may be. That's just my opinion. Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome.
And, you know, I'm on the bylaws with Dana and with Phil. We're still working on them. You know, we're gonna meet. And I think you're right. I think that we should address this through the bylaws. And once the bylaws committee meets again, we can just simply, you know, state it more clearly where it needs to be stated in, you know, in the bylaws as it should be stated in the bylaws. You know, and that will just make it, as you said, you know, a protocol. It'll just stay very clearly, you know, like you said, Madam Chair, you know, and it'll just be stated, you know, and like Vinny said, we've been doing for the whole pandemic. It's all Zoom right now, but you know, God forbid, you know, something unfortunate does happen, and you can mock me if you want, but God forbid something terrible does happen to one of our firefighters, and you know, Bob, you don't think we were involved, but I do think we have a responsibility that
Do you think it's your place to be going to somebody's house?
I think that if someone, when one of our firefighters died, the morning the firefighter died, Cindy, you recall that morning?
Yes.
You called all of us to go to the station to meet Station 2 with the firefighters when they had to go and find the firefighter dead, and that was our responsibility to be there.
Right. But that wasn't that morning.
So I don't know,
It
Dana.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So,
I mean, I just feel, I mean, chief, acting chief, how would you feel if one of your firefighters died? Who would you have go to the front door and knock? And
I would not go.
you would not go. I
No.
mean,
I don't think that's a job of the chairperson.
No.
Madam Chair, if I may suggest,
anyways, irregardless of that, the duties of this board, I think, we have a chairperson and a vice chairperson for a reason. And I think that the bylaws will handle it when we meet again. Right, Phil? We're gonna meet soon.
well, I've sent it out to everybody's asking for their comments. I'm waiting for return comments, but we are working. There's already something in the bylaws. When we meet, we certainly can review it and decide how we can adjust it accordingly, if it needs adjustment.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
So,
And by the way, and by putting it something, as I just described, into the bylaws, it's still going to have to come before the fire committee for their review and
Yes.
approval.
yeah,
Mhm.
So
exactly.
So just for informational purposes, this week, yes, I was in Arizona, but it was not a vacation. And I was in constant contact with the chief this week. And you also received a couple of emails from me.
Mhm.
I was not shirking my, I was still carrying on the responsibility of the chairperson. But if I was on vacation, then I would defer to, certainly, to the vice chair. Okay, any further comments?
Madam Chair, I just want you to know that I don't want you to misconstrue that I thought that you were
Yeah.
sure, I never would think that you shirked your responsibility. So
No,
I just for the record.
And that's not the reason why I brought this up either. Don't think it's me
No,
taking top shots at you for shirking your responsibilities. You certainly kept, the emails you sent us out about the other issues we can't discuss. You did not do any of that. It's just trying to, follow as the firefighters follow the incident command structure, we have a structure as a business structure. We have the chairperson, vice chairperson, it's just following that structure as well.
it's food for thought, Paul. I agree with you. And I think it's, I agree. It's a question for the bylaws.
Yes.
And then we can vote on it. So, thank you for bringing it up. It's important.
Mhm.
So any further discussion? And no, I didn't think, I wasn't insulted.
Okay. Good.
Please don't.
I'm glad.
No, I
It
wasn't, but
wasn't
I
meant
was
to be
just, I
insulting at all.
just wanted to,
It doesn't.
where the discussion was going, I just wanted to remind people that, because you don't know how many times I talked to the chief or the finance director. So I just wanted to assure everyone that I was in contact with the chief and with the finance director while I was in a lovely sunny state, by the way.
Yeah.
So,
And by the way, as a further comment, Madam Chair, thank you for bringing back about 12 or 15 degrees of
Yes,
Yeah.
warm weather.
right,
weather.
yeah.
Thank you. No
And the-
compensation, but thank you.
No, and the chief actually went on, I don't know, how many walks did you go on with me, Nick, while I was there? So, yeah, a few,
Quite a few. Yes, we were in contact all week.
yeah. Anyways, okay, any
All right,
further
thank-
discussion?
Thank
I
you.
can vouch for that too, Cindy, because we did have a conversation.
Okay. Any further discussion? All right, moving on. Thank you very much. Is there any public input this evening? All right. Is there a motion on the table to adjourn tonight's meeting?
Madam
Motion to
Chair, I
adjourn.
will, oh, Mr.
Commissioner
Santoro.
Puccioni,
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
is there a second?
7:55.
Second,
Santoro.
Commissioner Santoro. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's go to a vote. All in favor of adjourning tonight's regular meeting of the Cumberland Fire Committee, say aye. Or raise your
Aye.
hand.
I,
Opposed?
No, not opposed.
Okay, passes 7-0. This meeting is officially adjourned. Thank you very much.